Hi, everybody. Welcome back here on TV 15. Another week of talking Rougher football. I'm Bill Huddleston, along with the coach, Rafe Watkins. Well, I guess, Coach, you could say it's a half and then another half. And the difference was Bartlesville played better in the second half, and the Roughers came out on fire in half number one.
Yeah, the first half was definitely a lot better if you're a Roughers fan. We come out and we played exceptionally well, other than I hate that we get the ball first on there. We lose the toss. We fumbled, I think, 2 or 3 times on our first drive whenever we received the ball. Defense come out and got the ball right back for us, did a great job. We go down there on about a 93-yard march then and score to go up 7-0. Hold, go back up 14-0. And, we have a mishap on defense, or really would have probably gone up 21-0 at that point. But instead it's 14-7. We go back down and score 21-7. Everything's looking good, look like a machine, and then they score and have a chance even. Then we have a couple of holding penalties on our last drive of before half, kind of fold us in, but we're up 21-14 nonetheless, playing really well. Had a good halftime, adjustments, and come back out, and they go down and score to make it 21-21, and then we have a 6-minute lapse there that just was a nightmare.
It was almost kind of like just a tidal wave came crashing down on top of it.
And we're right now, this team, we're still learning how to overcome adversity, and adversity is going to happen in the course of a game. You're going to give up a big play defensively. You might give up something in the special teams. Offense may fumble or get a costly penalty, and unfortunately, all 3 of those things happened for us in a row. And before you know it, now they're up 35-21, giving up a punt. Then a little bit later, we gave up a pick 6, and so you get beat by 21, and you gave 21 points away. So it was a lot closer than what it seemed. There was times that we played really, really, really good football, and then there was times that like I said, there's 6 or 8 minutes if we had back, it would be a lot better.
Indeed it would, but there are some highlights from last week's game that we want to give you a chance to watch right along with the coach and I. So let's roll our video and take a look at some of these video highlights, Coach. And it started right here, getting it right back when it was in danger.
And we got it right back, and we take it down there and we score. And all this is first quarter stuff because we were going to the north.
There's a guy that just gets better.
A huge game.
Day by
Greg,
day.
I should say.
Cameron.
His dad will sure like that. Cameron had a great game. Greg didn't do much at all, but Cameron had a great game. Had over 117 yards receiving and a touchdown, which I think we're getting ready to see right here. Good downfield block. And right there, Tavian had a great, and I heard over the college games this week, whenever you see a big run somewhere, a receiver had a great block. Right there, Tavian had a great block. Coming up here in a little bit, Jeremiah Madrano.
And almost a pick. Yeah.
Will come up here shortly on a great block himself for Tavreem. Trayvon Hughes with an interception, and we go down there and make it 21. Here's the block by Jeremiah coming back to free.
There.
That's whenever the guys are blocking like that's why I get an extra 10 yards and then a penalty for 15. Great catch by Curl here. That was on a 3rd and long, 3rd and 8, I believe, and then Elijah gets in here on our sweep play. We were talking about it earlier. Whenever we played Sapulpa, he coasted in and got depleted there. That time he got his shoulder down. He learned a lesson, didn't he?
Yeah, he initiated the contact.
And here's Cameron out again.
Another kind of situation. If that's in full stride, it's 6 points.
Touchdown, right. It was good to get Tavian back. That gave us another threat. Davis got a little banged up during it. There's old crazy legs.
Good recognition. Yep, Devin doing a great job of focusing on the football.
Half.
Absolutely.
Second half highlights here, which there wasn't very many for us. We did cause. I think this is just going back. We already hit the top.
It is. But I mean, it's plays that you had to have. When you laid it on the ground, your defense got it right back. The offense went into gear. But that was last week. Now there's another week, and the Roughers are going to have their chances to prove their stuff back in front of the home crowd, back at Muskogee Creek Nation Indian Bowl, and it's a Thursday night ball game. All those things put together create some interesting circumstances. When we come back, Coach Watkins will talk to us all about those things, district standings, and more when Rougher football continues here on TV 15. Back on TV 15, Bill Huddleston along with the coach of the Roughers, Rafe Watkins. Coach, hard to believe, but we're 7 weeks into the 2015 campaign, and I know you're not where you want to be, not undefeated in district play, but certainly in control of your own destiny.
We are, and it's a different setup than last year. You know, we were 2-1 at this time last year. The difference coming out of the Bartlesville game last year, they were 0-2 coming into it and was not one of the front runners, didn't already have a win over Bixby and Sand Springs. So that's the difference this year. We knew last year that was probably the game for fourth place because we still had those monster games ahead of us. This year, those are a little bit more winnable for us because we're much better and they're not quite the teams they were. Bartlesville's already gave both of them a loss, and you know, Bartlesville and Booker T are playing, I guess, you know, really it's not official, but more than likely playing for the district championship in second place this week. We do have some circumstances where if we went out and beat Booker T, then you go down to points because us, Bartlesville and Booker T would all have one loss. But we're just taking it week to week. We got to take care of Claremore Zebras this week, which are looking for their first win. They've got their tough games they feel like out of the way like they did last year, and you know, they gave us a heck of a game last year up on a 17-0 until we finally rallied and beat them.
Now the Roughers playing on Thursday night this week, which creates a whole different set of circumstances. But before we talk about those Thursday night challenges, let's take a look at the standings in District 1 of Division 6A2 football. Bartlesville and Tulsa, Washington both tied at 3-0, both undefeated on the season as well as in district play. Like Coach said, more than likely deciding who will be the district champion in their game this week. But then it's Bixby, Sand Springs, and Muskogee all at 2-1. Claremore, Sapulpa, and Ponca City still winless. Coach, like we said, you can't worry about what anybody else does. You have to, the Roughers have to take care of their own business.
And that's what you want to do. You know, we can only control what we do. I don't want to look down there and say, oh, gosh, we need Bixby to beat Sand Springs by 6 points or 10 points or whatever. If we just take care of business, it takes care of itself, and we do. And then the big thing's going out and taking care of Claremore. You know, I don't know how many old guys will attend the game this week, but they'll see a familiar offense, but probably they may have ran in high school. The old single wing, you just don't ever hardly see it anymore. I called a friend that's in Iowa to find out more about it because he ran it up in Kansas and won 4 state titles up at Conway Springs in Kansas with it. He's one of the few that still uses it a lot, and found out a little, but you know, Coach Gilbreth and his staff's done a good job over there. They don't have a true quarterback, so they went to something where you don't have to have a true quarterback. They've got their quarterback is 6 foot tall, 225-pound tailback, and they spin out and he can still throw the deep ball. They'll still throw out of it, but the key is they got misdirection, and they got some big linemen, and they're going to use all that stuff to their advantage. They want to get first downs. You know, they're not going to break a lot of big plays, but against the Sand Springs and Booker T, they had a lot of 4 and 5 and 6 yard gains, which keeps the clock moving and stuff that they want to do and shorten the game. It'll probably take a quarter and a half for us to be able to get the feel for it, because this week trying to simulate it's the other thing. You know, you hear about the college game about people trying to simulate when they play Georgia Tech with the option game that they have, because nobody runs option anymore in high schools. They're all with this wide open stuff. So now when you get to this, you know, people used to run the wing tee a lot, which is a thing that you can simulate it closely to. But to try to get our kids, and they're doing a good job so far. We had to come in on practice on Sunday because it being the short week, and then yesterday's practice. But they're doing a good job, but we won't see the actual true test of it until first quarter on Thursday night.
Well, when you see the single wing, there's a lot of misdirection like Coach talked about, and that puts an undue amount of pressure on your linebacking core. Their heads have to be on a swivel, whether that's the 3 base linebackers or even when you bring Tavian up in kind of a hybrid type linebacker, Jared Lopes as well. Those guys are going to have to be looking from north, south, east, and west.
Well, Coach Hill's got his linebackers doing their run keys, and they'll give you some false reads because they'll pull a couple of linemen out one direction, but the whole key is that fullback and the other tailback will lead you in the direction that it's going. So we've got our keys. There may be a few misreads, but if they'll keep their eyes out of the backfield and read their fullbacks and their linemen that they're supposed to, it'll minimize the deception that they give with all that movement. But if they get their eyes in the backfield, there may be some collisions. It may be comical if you're a Claremore fan. It won't be very comical for us. And then, of course, they do a good job. Jared Hurts, their defensive coordinator, Burnett, their coach, has been the head coach before at Sky took. He does a good job with the defense there at Claremore. Like I said, first half last year, we had a field goal at halftime. I think it was 17-3, and then we got some things together and ended up scoring 3 touchdowns in the second half. But he'll do a good job, and they, they're going to be in a 4-4 look. I think that they'll end up being in a 3-4 look because I think they're going to have to add another DB to stop our run, our passing game due to the fact that we do have a speed advantage against them. So it'll be an interesting ball game.
Coach, I know everybody plays on Thursday night, so it's the same for everybody, but having one less day to prepare, especially when you're going against a totally foreign defensive game plan against an offense like the single wing, it's hurry-up film study.
It is, and then, ultimately, we never practice kids on Sunday, but we brought them in, and I've always done this on when we have our fall break game or a Thursday night game when you play people that share stadiums, but we brought them in on Sunday, so that was basically our Monday practice. It was just our scouting report and walkthrough, and then Monday was our Tuesday practice. Tuesday will be our Wednesday practice. So we'll have the same amount of full pad practices, but it will be a lot of film study from our young men on their own.
Well, the Roughers will play this Thursday night. We hope to see a huge crowd at Muskogee Creek Nation Field Indian Bowl. And Coach, with it being Little Rougher night, you're going to have a lot of moms and dads there. You're going to have a lot of future stars wearing their green and white jerseys and coming out there along with the team. That's always kind of a neat deal, not just for the coaches, but also for the current players, because they know they had their little heroes looking at them.
That's exactly right. I can remember growing up and thinking that those guys playing on Friday nights were, we didn't think about the college guys, the pro guys. And I've told it to our kids, you don't realize how much you're looked at as a leader and idolized by these younger guys. And I can remember my guys that when I was growing up that I just idolized. Tony Shimmick hung the moon, and thought that was the greatest player ever. And he was just at Low Preg High School. But they had their favorites, and it is always fun to see your future Roughers get out there and hopefully get all this thing turned around now so that they have it a lot easier when they get up here.
Well, we'll certainly be looking for you there at the game this Thursday night. Kickoff is 7 o'clock. It is TTCU game night sponsor. We want to see you at the bowl when the Roughers take on Claremore. For head coach Rafe Watkins, I'm Bill Huddleston. Until we meet again, remember, it's always a great day to be a Rougher.